Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Chase Hayden.
Hey there, Dr. Amber Horsley.
We're from the Hayden Institute, and one of the biggest questions we get as nutritional practitioners is what someone could do to increase their level of energy so that they can do more throughout the day. And so we wanted to share this quick video with you regarding something called adrenal fatigue or adrenal insufficiency. Basically, the adrenal glands, they're little hormone glands in your back right above your kidneys. They deal a lot with stress management, energy production. They help with blood sugar regulation, affect sleep pathways. And basically, when we get stressed out and we hear about this hormone called cortisol, the adrenal glands are responsible. And so when the adrenal glands get involved and they start getting really tired, it can lead to a variety of symptoms.
Yeah, well, and that's something that we're probably feeling a lot right now as well, because it's going to lead to a lot of more anxiety, some just mood instability, some dark circles under the eyes, even potentially dizziness, dry skin, frequent urination, just extreme tiredness. So Dr. Hayden mentioned a little bit about these adrenal glands, but the big thing that they're known for is cortisol release. And what is cortisol for? For stress. And so with quarantine, what's a lot of people dealing with right now? It's a lot of stressors. I mean, it's being in a place and situation you're not used to. It's that concern about just unknown of what's going on, what's actually happening in our world, because you listen to one news station, they say one thing, and one they say something else. And so this unknown there, you don't know if your job is secure, there's so many issues there. Your kids are home, which is great, but it's maybe a different change than what you're used to. So there's a lot of stressors that are going at this time. So that's going to lead to a lot of these different symptoms that I kind of listed out before.
So when it comes to cortisol, we often think about these emotional stressors, like what are we doing with work, what's going to happen with the viruses, whatever it might be. But cortisol is just a hormone that lets your body know that something's a little bit out of sync. And it can definitely happen through emotional stress. Same thing can happen through physical stress. Like if I was in a car wreck, I'd have a response with cortisol. If I had chronic pain patterns, cortisol might be a little bit more elevated. Poor dietary habits, so if all I do is sit in the closet and eat junk food all day, my cortisol is going to be a little bit higher. But eventually these symptoms, like Dr. Horsley talked about, start manifesting in our lives. And one of the most common symptoms that someone may experience to know that they have a cortisol problem is they will go to sleep for about 8 hours and wake up and feel like they need to go right back to sleep for another 8 hours. Like they're not feeling recovered through their healing state or their recovery state. So that one is a very common problem when someone has excessive cortisol amounts in their life. And yeah, of course, we get the dark circles, we get tired all the time, but the lack of recovery because your cortisol is displacing the body's ability to recover is a big deal.
Exactly. And a lot of it also could be lack of healing over time too, because your adrenals are very much in control of like collagen and cartilage production in the body. And so over time, you may notice kind of more popping and crackling in your joints, things like that, or an inability to heal as well as you used to from those muscle injuries that you got working out, things like that. So that can also be a sign that your adrenals might be just a little bit overburdened.
Well, I'm getting a cortisol response now, thinking about all these symptoms might be in my life. How might someone improve their cortisol state or lower their cortisol in this time of potential uncertainty, poor sleep, aches and body pains and things like that? Because we're all at home, we're all in quarantine. What might someone do?
Something that you can do is you can work on making sure you're getting enough good quality fats in your diet. So making sure you're having a lot of avocados, nuts, seeds, wild-caught fish, some of those different types of things. And also you want to make sure that you're kind of eating smaller meals throughout the day, which that's oftentimes something that I encourage people to do more is more intermittent fasting. However, when your adrenals are kind of really stressed over time, giving that little bit of fuel throughout the day can oftentimes be something to help to stabilize adrenal function and just kind of help to lower that blood sugar spikes.
And that's because blood sugar and cortisol are going to be so tied together.
Exactly.
So modifying the diet, having more fats, managing carbs a little bit more efficiently is going to be better for cortisol maintenance, rather than just going and getting, the junk food over and over again and letting our blood sugar spike and fall, which then affects cortisol output even more.
Exactly.
So in addition to dietary stuff, what else might someone do to better help regulate their adrenal glands?
Yeah, so also working more with sleep, which, of course, one of the first things Dr. Hayden said, which is what people notice, is that they wake up and they don't feel as well rested. So doing certain things to help to still optimize sleep can still help with adrenal function, because sleeping is something that can help to give balance more towards that side of your endocrine system. So making sure that you are having a good wind down routine, doing a lot of things to help just to calm the body itself and the mind, so mindfulness type things, so doing some journaling activities before you go to bed, focusing more on some gratitude type things, making sure you're doing things in your life to make you laugh. So even more on that emotional side of things, which sometimes may feel forced when we're in this stressful period, but finding that time to bring joy and doing things on purpose that make you have some of that excitement is going to be something that can help overall health as well.
Would it be beneficial for someone to turn off their devices prior to going to bed? It's like not watching, Netflix or TV from their bed, then immediately turning it off and going to sleep, or getting off their phones, not scrolling through Facebook or something like that.
For sure.
That would affect cortisol output as well because
100%.
of circadian rhythms.
Yep.
So looking at ways in which we can try and stimulate and support the adrenal glands during this time. Obviously, we want to de-stress our life to whatever capacity we can. Be mindful of what we're doing. Journaling is a good activity. Removing the devices right before bed. We want to look at blood sugar stability. Is there one final tip that you think might be a good idea for someone who might have elevated cortisol levels at this time of their life? Let's say supplement, for example. Is there a supplement that someone might be able to take that supports their adrenal glands?
So in our office, I would recommend something like Adrenal, which is something that's going to help to take stress off of the adrenals themselves while giving also all these different good whole food nutrients to support the adrenals. Another one are going to be herbs called adaptogens. They help to support the adrenals either when they're too revved up or when they're suffering a little bit lower as well. So adaptogens are going to be things like ashwagandha, holy basil, also known as tulsi, as well as rhodiola rosea. So there's certain other herbs that are going to be great options that can also help during this time. Something about like ashwagandha or these adaptogens that people are oftentimes nervous about is that, this thing gives me so much energy, like how can I take it before bed? Well, that's the beautiful thing with those herbs is that what they're known in Chinese medicine is giving you that energy like 1,000 horses during the day, but then you can sleep like a baby at night. And so that's the function of a lot of these herbs, is truly to help during both sides of the adrenal more fatigue.
So if I was having stressful situations, my cortisol was up, 3 steps to take away from this quick video would be: look for ways to balance my blood sugar, look for ways to de-stress and deconnect before going to bed so my sleep is more restful, and potentially look for ways to augment my diet through supplementation with herbs, things like Adrenal you mentioned, which is going to have some adrenal tissue inside of it, some vitamin C. It's going to look for ways like using herbs that are adaptogens like holy basil, tulsi, ashwagandha, rhodiola, ginseng, things of that nature. So if your stress levels are up because of this pandemic, which all of ours are, we know, look for ways in which we can try and get cortisol to go down, and as you do so, you should see improvements in energy, which is the number one complaint we see in our office, as well as sleep, and we want to try and get those cortisol levels down. Thank you all for joining us in this video, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.